Apple has the money, the engineers, and the factories to build a truly cheap iPhone. So why has one of the world's biggest technology companies spent years refusing to do it? Not because it can't, because Apple believes one cheap iPhone could put something far more valuable at risk. At first, the answer seems obvious. A lower price should mean more customers, more sales, and more profit. Yet while other smartphone brands compete to build cheaper devices every year, Apple continues to focus on premium iPhones. That leaves one question. What does Apple know that its competitors don't? The answer begins long before the first iPhone was ever released. Before Apple changed the smartphone industry, it changed the way it built products. In the late 1990s, the company simplified its product lineup instead of trying to compete in every category. Rather than offering dozens of choices, Apple focused on creating a small number of products with a clear purpose and a premium identity. That philosophy carried over when the first iPhone arrived. While many smartphone companies released models for every budget, Apple chose a different strategy. It concentrated on a limited lineup and invested heavily in design, software, and the overall user experience. The goal wasn't to sell a phone to everyone. It was to build a product that people wanted to keep, and a brand people wanted to be part of. At the time, it seemed like a risky decision. But that single choice would shape Apple's future for years to come. From the outside, the solution looks simple. Build a cheaper iPhone, reach millions of new customers, and sell even more devices. But Apple sees a different equation. Price doesn't only affect how much money a product makes. It also affects how people value it. For years, Apple has positioned the iPhone as a premium product. That reputation influences customer expectations, developer support, and the way the iPhone fits into Apple's broader ecosystem. If Apple suddenly entered a race to build the cheapest smartphone, it might gain new customers in the short term. But it could also change how people think about the iPhone itself. For Apple, that's a much bigger risk than it sounds. Because the company isn't only protecting the price of a phone, it's protecting the image that has made the iPhone one of the most recognizable products in the world. And that's where the story takes an unexpected turn. The iPhone isn't Apple's final product. It's the beginning of a much larger experience. After buying an iPhone, many customers start using services like iCloud, the App Store, Apple Music, and FaceTime. Some later add AirPods, an Apple Watch, an iPad, or a Mac. Each product is designed to work smoothly with the others. That's Apple's real advantage. The more connected those products become, the more convenient they are to use together. Over time, many customers choose to stay because the experience feels familiar and consistent. This is why Apple doesn't measure success only by the number of iPhones it sells. It also considers how each iPhone strengthens the entire ecosystem. A truly cheap iPhone might increase sales, but if it weakens the premium image that attracts customers in the first place, Apple could lose something far more difficult to rebuild. And that's exactly why the company chose a different path. If Apple refuses to build a truly cheap iPhone, then what was the iPhone SE? Many people assumed it was Apple's answer to the budget market, but Apple's strategy was more careful than that. Instead of creating the cheapest smartphone possible, the company built a more affordable iPhone while keeping the same operating system, long software support, and access to the same ecosystem. That distinction matters. Apple wasn't trying to win a price war. It was trying to lower the barrier to entry without changing what the iPhone represented. In other words, the company wanted more people to join the Apple ecosystem, but not by turning the iPhone into just another low-cost device. That's why even today, Apple continues to launch premium flagship models while offering only a limited number of lower-priced options. It isn't chasing the largest number of customers. It's chasing long-term loyalty. And that leads to the biggest question of all. Has that strategy actually been worth it? The answer isn't that Apple can't build a cheap iPhone. It almost certainly could. The real question is whether Apple believes it should. For years, the company has accepted selling fewer phones than it might otherwise sell in exchange for protecting a premium brand, a tightly connected ecosystem, and a customer experience it believes people will return to. That strategy isn't perfect. It leaves room for competitors to dominate parts of the budget market. But Apple has consistently chosen to compete on perceived value instead of the lowest price. In the end, the iPhone isn't expensive by accident. It's expensive by design. Not because Apple wants to ignore millions of customers, but because the company believes that once a premium product becomes just another budget option, rebuilding that image is far harder than protecting it in the first place. So here's the question for you. If you were Apple's CEO, would you launch a truly cheap iPhone to reach millions of new customers, or would you protect the premium brand even if it meant selling fewer phones? Share your opinion in the comments. And if you enjoy uncovering the hidden business decisions behind the world's biggest technology companies, subscribe to Ledger Logic so you don't miss the next story.